Hi everyone, Meteorologist Brian Bennett here with a quick look at Tropical Storm Nate on your Thursday, October 5th. Winds right now 40 miles per hour, moving to the northwest at 9 miles per hour. Not a real pretty looking storm from a meteorological standpoint. It is being torn apart a bit by the more mountainous terrain of Nicaragua. As it moves north, it will likely regain hurricane status. Here's a look at the National Hurricane Center track, and right now, pretty good agreement that it's going to make landfall late Saturday night, early Sunday morning between the border of Florida and Alabama, right around Mobile, or perhaps as far west as areas just west of New Orleans. And again, it's likely going to be a strong tropical storm or a minimal hurricane when it makes landfall in the northern Gulf Coast. All the spaghetti model plots are green. It's taking it right into the general New Orleans vicinity, again, Saturday night, Sunday morning. Taking a quick look at the computer models, here's a look at the European model, and European has it making landfall right around New Orleans. The GFS has it making landfall just west of New Orleans, a couple of miles there, and the Canadian model has it making landfall just around New Orleans area as well. And let's take a look at the RPM. The RPM model, the Rapid Precision Mesoscale model, has it making landfall just west of New Orleans. The H-Wharf model, again, another model here, and I'm showing you a lot of models, but the basic consensus here is that the more models that are calling for the same thing, the more likely that that is going to be the scenario. So the H-Wharf is calling for landfall right around New Orleans, perhaps a few miles east of New Orleans as well. And finally, the IBM Deep Thunder model is calling for landfall right around perhaps coastal Mississippi or the New Orleans area as well. Keep it in mind, we do have that cone of uncertainty, which means that anybody from central Louisiana to the very western panhandle should be keeping a pretty close eye on this storm. The Florida peninsula is going to be safe from the storm, hardly any impact, if any impact at all, on the actual Florida peninsula. All right, so let's take a look at the storm, how it's going to progress on shore. So there it makes landfall late Saturday night and early Sunday morning, then moves up through Mississippi and Alabama. Keep in mind that Florida really not seeing very much rain from the system at all. It is a bit too far west. But folks, in the path of this storm up through Mississippi, Alabama, even in Kentucky, they're going to see the potential for quite a bit of rain. Take a look at this. As the storm moves north, you'll see it here in a second. Okay, there's the storm moving north. You can see the kind of the skinny line of heavier precipitation. As it moves north, we're going to see that heavy line of precipitation move in perhaps right around New Orleans. Keep it in mind, again, this could shift by about 80 miles or so to the west or to the east, but wherever the center of circulation makes landfall, the potential is there for right around 10 inches to a foot of rain. The storm then moves to the north, actually combines with an approaching cold front, so check this out. Areas well inland, even up into Kentucky, are seeing the potential for up to 7 inches of rain from the remnants of the tropical system combining with a cool front. So some heavy rain right over the eastern Mississippi River Valley into Mississippi, Alabama, western Tennessee, and Kentucky, and then spreading to the northeast as the remnants continue to move to the north. So this will be quite the rainmaker for parts of the southeastern part of the country. All right, here's a look at the wind model from the, again, IBM Deep Thunder. And you can see it gets more symmetric once it moves into the Gulf of Mexico and then makes landfall perhaps right just south or southwest of New Orleans, according to the IBM model. And that has winds sustained blowing around 70 knots, which will be right around 80 miles per hour. So pretty close to hurricane status, so perhaps a minimal Cat 1 hurricane as it makes landfall in this area. And here's Florida right here. We're only looking at about 10 mile per hour winds from this storm, so really no rain or wind impact from tropical storm or Hurricane Nate. On the other hand, there actually is an area of low pressure right now just south of Key West. If you look real closely, you can see the counterclockwise circulation and this low, which is somewhat of a northern extension of Tropical Storm Nate is spreading quite a bit of rain over Florida, especially eastern part of Florida. By the time the rain makes it into the Tampa Bay area, for the most part, the rain is weakened and the rain is not as heavy. Now take a look at the European model here. This shows you how much rain is expected to accumulate the GFS model shows you how much rain will accumulate from this low pressure system over Key West. And the eastern part of Florida could pick up 2, 3, 4 inches of rain from this somewhat tropical low pressure system. By the time you get into the Tampa Bay area, much of that does dissolve, but some heavy rain from basically Melbourne down through West Palm Beach, inland through Lake Okeechobee, and even over towards Naples and Marco Island could see the potential for a couple inches of rain from this tropical low pressure system. Now, in addition to the rain in this location today across eastern and southern Florida, we're also seeing the king tide. The king tide is the biggest tide of the year, so especially Florida and South Florida being impacted by the king tide. And here's a picture of some of the flooding that occurred today from this very large high tide. So natural flooding, this could even happen on a sunny day, and this especially impacts South Florida with high tides about 3 feet above the mean sea level, and Tampa Bay area can see a king tide of about 2.5 feet above the mean sea level, but not quite as bad as the Miami area. All right, that's it for now, folks. That's a quick update on the tropical system. Hope you have a great and safe afternoon.